Inter-ministerial committee to look into growing concerns over data privacy violations where some subscribers have discovered their lines linked to unknown main records or multiple unregistered lines. The committee includes National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning Atiku Bagudu, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy Dr. Bosun Tijani, and Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Dr. Nantawi Yelwadda. Now, this move follows rising calls for stronger data protection and transparency, while the House of Representatives also launching its own inquiry. Now, consumer rights groups have actually warned that unauthorized data linkage could expose individuals to risks such as identity theft and cybercrime. Reactions have begun trailing President Bola Tinubu's leadership changes at some federal universities across the country. The president on Thursday announced the changes, but Nigerians are reacting differently to the move. For some, it amounts to unhealthy political interference on the institutions of learning, but others are of the view that it was high time the nation's universities were overhauled. Part of the affected universities is the University of Abuja, recently renamed as Yakubu Gowon University, where the president dissolved the entire governing council and relieved Professor Aisha Mekuti as vice-chancellor. Senator Larry Tejuosho, currently pro-chancellor of the University of Agriculture in Makurdi, has been appointed pro-chancellor of the Yakubu Gowon University. He will be succeeded in Makurdi by Senator Joy Emodi, the current pro-chancellor of Alvan Ikoku University of Education. To succeed Makurdi, Tinubu appointed Professor La Patricia Monko as acting vice-chancellor at the Yakubu Gowon University for a 6-month term and will not be eligible to apply for the substantive vice-chancellor position when it becomes available. Earlier, a legal practitioner, Justice Ojono, and a public affairs analyst, G. Day Johnson, shared their perspectives on the story. Let's bring you their views.
The visitor of the schools, and they will check the various establishment acts or laws of various universities in Nigeria, depending on whether it's a federal university or a state university. We usually have provisions where it is the president that actually appoints. And we usually say that the person that has the power to appoint actually also has the power to remove, even though constitutionally there are times when a removal has to be ratified by either the Senate or any other body as stipulated by the Constitution. But generally, if I have to use the University of Abuja as an example, the Establishment Act established the university in 1992, pursuant to Sections 5, Section 15, and the first schedule to the act that created the University of Abuja. The president is on very, very firm terrain when we consider the power that he has to actually remove the vice chancellor and veto every other institution where he makes any sort of decision, whether or not it is a purely legal matter or a political matter is a matter for another time. That's for
instance, if you look at the issues surrounding the appointment of the recently removed PC, we discovered that it was political interference that made that to even, because based on the requirements, she was not qualified and to be the VC, because there are some certain conditions which she must fulfill. From what we gather, she became professor in 2021, and she's not even met up with the 8-year requirement. So, for me, basically, it's political interference. You can't become VC in Nigeria today without any political involvement or any political interference. So, as far as I'm concerned, like my colleague said, the president reserved the right to appoint and to remove us whoever is appointed into federal university, because the president is the visitor. But the interesting thing is that it was not only the VC that was removed, there was a sweeping change, because the governing council is meant to be the eyes, the ear, and everything for the president, who happens to be the visitor. They are meant to superintend over that institution, and I'm sure the governing council did not do due diligence in this particular appointment, and that's why you see the tsunami consumed both the governing council as well as the VC. So as a result of this internal crisis that made the and then the outcome of that intervention is the removal of this particular VC and the appointment of a new VC to serve for 6 months and not to be eligible for that post when it becomes vacant. So it tells you that there's a need for something to be tidy up. There's a need for that organ stable to be tamed. And I think this intervention, I'm sure, will assuage the feelings of the internal stakeholders within the university so that they can put the university in the right footing and they can move forward. As regards political interference, there's nothing anybody can do concerning political interference in a federally owned institution. The infiltration of the IBTO has started under Babangida administration. These professors don't usually take political appointment before. Now, during Babangida's administration, professors begin to look for the goal of any VC after serving that VC is to become minister tomorrow or to become a governor, to become senator. So the IBTO has been infested with politics. So there's nothing anybody can do concerning that.
Nigeria's Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has proposed a shift to a 12-year basic education model, replacing the current 934 system. Now, speaking at the 2025 Extraordinary National Council of Education meeting, the country's highest policy-making body on education, Alausa argued that extending basic education to 12 years would improve students with a more structured and continuous learning experience. Nigeria's existing system consists of 9 years of basic education, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of tertiary education. Now, the minister believes that the proposed change will enhance learning outcomes and contribute to a more skilled and knowledgeable workforce, ultimately driving national development. Still talking education, the Sapele Polytechnic in Delta State, now abandoned, has raised concerns among educationists regarding the project's fate, prompting the host communities to appeal to Governor Sheriff Oborewari to revisit the issue while emphasizing the need for its completion and reopening. News Central correspondent Austin Azu, who visited the abandoned institution, tells us more.
This is the entrance gate into the proposed Sapele Polytechnic here at Iriabome and Degele in Sapele local government area of Delta State. This project started in 2012 and was abandoned in 2016. What are the people saying about this project?
So the project is abandoned in 2016 during Governor Okowa. So we wrote a lot of letter to the government house that the project they should come and continue with the project, because we have a lot of the project is a big project, and we feel that the project will also bring development to our community.
Some of our people we graduated from the school, we're supposed to work here, they didn't have somewhere to work.
The Sapele Polytechnic, now abandoned, was among the 4 polytechnics established in 2010 under former Governor Emmanuel Oduaga's administration. The project work started in 2012 at the permanent site of this communal farm in Degele Iriabome communities. The abandonment of the project is not an isolated incident, as several other projects initiated by Oduaga in the state were stopped as former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa took over power in 2015. In 2021, Okowa upgraded 3 tertiary institutions in the state to universities. The host communities appealed to Governor Sheriff Oborewari to consider visiting the institution for on-the-spot assessment of the massive projects on site.
So, Excellency, I'm here, I'm begging, as one of your aid, you come and assist us, because the women, the men, as you can see, I'm with the committee, some of the leaders. Look at the whole place now, look at the environment. This land is a place where we farm, we have a lot of farm here, but we donated it to the government so that our children, the communities, we can go to school. And with school, development will come.
We are appealing to the Delta State Governor, Chief Honorable Sheriff Oborewari, to come and assist us to open the school.
The Delta State Commissioner for Higher Education, who spoke through the phone, said the Polytechnic was not part of the handover documents given to him when he assumed office. But the State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information shed more light.
We are the only state in the entire country that has 4 universities owned by the state, 2 colleges of education owned by the state, 2 polytechnics owned by the state, not to talk of other health sciences.
The people of Delta State, particularly those in Sapele, are eagerly awaiting updates on the Polytechnic status and hoping for its revival. In Sapele for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Thank you, Austin, for that report. Now, when we come back after the break, we'll tell you how the Nigerian Senate has resolved to probe the recent fire outbreak spill in Buguma community of Rivers State. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian Senate has resolved to probe the recent fire outbreak and oil spill in Buguma community of Rivers State in the south-south region of the country. Now, this resolution was reached at Thursday's plenary. News Central's National Assembly correspondent Saged Ibrahim was there and now reports.
Rivers lawmaker expressed displeasure over the slow response of the oil companies in the region, saying that their inaction has worsened the plight of affected residents.
Recognizes the severe consequences of this incident, including contamination of rivers, farmlands, and aquatic life, which constitute the primary source of livelihood for the residents of Buguma. The pollutants released pose significant health risks, including respiratory and waterborne diseases, and long-term effects such as cancer and organ damage.
Other lawmakers contributed to the debate, recommending additional measures for a more comprehensive response to the crisis.
The federal government should declare a national emergency program for the rebuilding, rehabilitation, and recalibration of the national oil, onshore oil wells, flow stations, and pipeline infrastructure in Nigeria.
Urge the Ecological Management Committee and relevant agencies to ascertain cleanup costs, charges, and penalties of each and every oil spill or fire hazard and charge operators accordingly.
At the end of the deliberations, the Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, who presided over the day's session, referred the matter to the Senate Committees on Environment and Petroleum Upstream for further legislative action.
The major factor is the fact that we have an infrastructure that has become decayed. And the second factor is the fact that there are some level of sabotage in that. The Senate has the latitude to deal with the matter. So let me put the question. Those in favor of this prayer, please say aye. Those against say nay. Oh, the ayes have it.
Meanwhile, another motion was raised during plenary calling for an urgent investigation into allegations by Niger Republic's military ruler, Abdurrahman Tiani, that Nigeria is colluding with France to destabilize his government. Umar Shehu, representing Bauchi South in Nigeria's northeastern region, says that diplomatic relations between the two nations has now become strained following the coup d'etat that ousted Niger's civilian government.
Brigadier General Chani also alleged plans to establish a base for Lakurawa in a forest near Gaba, Sokoto State, with operational reach extending to Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi States. Additionally, he claims that foreign military bases in Nigeria are being used to target Niger's oil pipelines and create security threats.
Let us just agree that his committee be made to go and carry out whatever investigation that needs to be carried out. And the committee will present a report to us in an executive session to be discussed further by the committee of the whole.
The matter was subsequently referred to the Senate Committees on Intelligence, National Security, and Foreign Affairs for further actions.
The motion is now referred to the Committee on Intelligence and National Security, jointly with the Committee on Foreign Affairs, to report back within 4 weeks.
As the Senate awaits feedback from its joint committees, lawmakers resolved to debate the findings in an executive session due to the sensitivity of the issue. From the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim for News Central.
Now, in politics, Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi has called for greater transparency and accountability following the recent increase in Nigeria's budget of restoration to 54.2 trillion naira. While acknowledging reported revenue growth, Obi raised concerns over the lack of a clear expenditure breakdown to justify the increase. He stressed that Nigerians must be informed about how public funds are allocated and spent, particularly in critical sectors such as education, healthcare, security, and poverty alleviation. Obi also urged the government to ensure that the budget delivers tangible benefits to national development and the well-being of citizens rather than becoming a vehicle of wasteful spending. The Trade Union Congress has condemned the commencement of tolling operations and selected federal highway corridors across the country. Now, the Congress, after its first quarter National Administrative Council meeting in Abuja, urged the federal government to reverse the approval given for the operations to begin until the federal highways are fixed and fit for use by citizens. The Congress, while also expressing its views on several other national issues, called for a better foreign exchange management regime, blaming it for the high cost of goods and services, escalating inflation rates, among others.
Our highways are death traps, unsafe, abandoned, and filled with potholes. Rather than fulfilling its responsibility to fix and maintain these roads, the government is resorting to shameless extortion. The Congress therefore demands that all roads earmarked for tolling must first be fixed properly tarred and repaired to international standards before any discussion on tolling can be entertained.
The proposal to create 31 additional states beyond the country's existing 36 has triggered widespread reactions nationwide. Now, the House of Representatives Constitution Review Committee put forward the proposal, which was detailed in a letter read during Thursday's plenary session. Since then, Nigerians have voiced strong opinions on the matter. The Yoruba socio-cultural group N54.2T and its northern counterpart, the Arewa Consultative Forum, are among those rejecting the proposal, calling it ridiculous and unnecessary. The House Committee, chaired by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, recommended 6 new states in the North Central, 4 in the Northeast, 5 in Northwest, 5 in South-South, and 7 in Southwest.
The committee has reviewed the proposals for the creation of new states in accordance with Section 8, Subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. This section outlines specific requirements that must be fulfilled to initiate the process of state creation, which include the following. New state and boundaries. 1. An act of the National Assembly for the purpose of creating a new state shall only be passed if a request supported by at least 2/3 majority of members representing the area demanding the creation of the new state in each of the following, namely, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the House of Assembly in respect of the area, and the Local Government Council in respect of the area, is received by the National Assembly.
The European Union and Germany have pledged 39 million euros to support vulnerable individuals, including internally displaced persons in the northern Nigerian states of Borno, Adamawa, and Kebbi. The announcement was made by the head of the EU mission to Nigeria during a visit to Maiduguri, where he reaffirmed Europe's commitment to strengthening social protection for communities affected by conflict and displacement. News Central's Umari Kirawa has the details.
Displaced for over a decade, families here struggle to survive after losing everything to insurgency in Nigeria's northeast. A delegation from the European Union and Germany arrives at the government house in Maiduguri, seeking to strengthen ties and explore new avenues to support vulnerable populations, including displaced persons.
Very glad to announce that we have a new project with our German partners, co-funded with Germany and the European Union, on social protection for the people involved, focusing on IDPs and vulnerable people. Some 39 million euros for Borno, Adamawa and Kebbi states.
This return is a testament to the enduring partnership between the government of Borno State, BMZ and the EU, and to our shared commitment to improving the lives of the people in the northeast Nigeria with a strong focus on gender equality and social inclusion.
Our aim is to identify how we can best complement your efforts and initiative, Your Excellency. The strength of our partnership lies in the synergy of our combined effort.
The European Union also underscored its commitment to long-term solutions focused on rebuilding communities and fostering self-sufficiency.
One of our priorities is to resettle our IDPs in a dignified manner, according to the Kampala Convention, which is very important. I want to sincerely acknowledge the tremendous humanitarian support that we receive from all the partners, especially from ECHO. ECHO donated about 53 million euros, I think, within the year 2016-2017, and these have impacted positively on the lives of our IDPs.
The strengthened partnership between the EU, Germany, and Nigeria is seen as a crucial step in addressing the ongoing humanitarian crisis and offering renewed hope to vulnerable Nigerians. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
To security matters, residents of Awka, the Anambra State capital, southeast Nigeria, are urging every resident of the state to join hands with the security agents and government to fight insecurity in the state. The police in the state also confirms that receiving support through provision of information by the public will make their job easier. News Central's Chinwe Ugele brings us details of her interactions with the people in parts of Anambra State.
The major reason people can concentrate on their various legitimate concerns anywhere is knowing that they are safe and do not need to worry about their lives and property. To achieve this, the people in Anambra State themselves have become advocates of a collaborative effort from everyone in fighting criminality.
This thing should not be left alone for the governor. Everybody will be involved, including you and myself.
While some lend their voices to the situation, there are still others who simply play aloof and would rather walk away than discuss it. The residents here recognize some level of impact.
The positive side of what the man has done is community awareness. I've been in touch with a lot of community leaders in Anambra State, including from my own community of Ezinifta. And I can tell you that the people, the leaders there are getting the message in times of being security conscious.
The security situation, as a matter of fact, has been very bad before. But since the governor made some pronouncements a few weeks ago, I think there's been a remarkable improvement.
In various parts of the state, the people are demanding for some level of professionalism from the vigilante outfit.
What is still lacking in that arrangement is it is not professionally grounded. It still dwells on hearsay evidence.
They need to be more trained in unison and more civilized in apprehending or approaching some of these scrupulous elements.
Police in Anambra State say they are also offering advice and corrections to the vigilante outfit. The police public relations officer in the state, Tochukwu Ikenga, says the police are relying on the people's assessment to work on grey areas for improvement.
they have been handing over suspects to us, and we have also corrected them in places they have made mistake, so that they will it will fit in with our operational order. But I must tell you that there is no security challenge here in Anambra that the police command and other security agencies have not been able to surmount.
It is no longer business as usual, where the issues of security are left in the hands of the agents and the government. The people are hopeful that there is still time for things to get better in the state. In Oka, for News Central, I am Shiwe Ugele.
Still talking security, the Nigeria Police Force says that over $33,000, including assets worth over 370 million naira, have been recovered from the 3 firms that had targeted international oil companies. The force public relations officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, says that the recoveries followed the arrest of 9 suspects for various cyber-related offenses, making the number of suspects arrested since the commencement of the year to about 84. Adejobi also added that 8 BMW vehicles were also recovered from a 27-year-old suspect linked to proceeds of alleged fraudulent activities.
Operatives of the National Cybercrime Center arrested one Rabiu Aliyu Salisu alias Rabo, 27 years, male, from Kogi State, involved in identity theft, computer-related fraud, and money laundering. Preliminary investigations revealed that the suspect fraudulently assumed the identity of an American citizen, presenting himself as Matthew Ramsey, with intent to deceive and exploit unsuspecting victims, primarily vulnerable women, in online romance scams. A subsequent search of his premises led to the confiscation of multiple electronic gadgets, which have passed through forensic analysis used in perpetrating these illicit activities, along with 8 BMW vehicles suspected to be proceeds of crime.
The Lagos state government is rolling out 4 new intelligent transport system sites to monitor speed limits and crack down on traffic violations. At a press briefing on Thursday, Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Osiemi unveiled the initiative in partnership with Huawei Technologies. Now, 2 sites will specifically target speeding, one at Alakbere, enforcing an 80 km/h limit, and another at Nitel with a 60 km/h limit. 2 e-police sites at Allen Avenue and Nuruddin Olokpopo Road will also track multiple infractions, including running red lights and illegal U-turns. Offenders will face immediate fines as part of a broader effort to promote safer driving and reduce road accidents across the city. Let's now head to South Africa, where President Cyril Ramaphosa on Thursday gave the State of the Nation address. He outlined his government's key policy objectives and deliverables for the year ahead. In his address, Ramaphosa noted that the South Africa stands as one united nation and will not be cowed by anyone, especially having survived its darkest days of apartheid. The speech, which is an annual event, marks an important milestone in South Africa's democratic process and demonstrates the country's robust democracy, bringing certainty to its political, social, and economic landscape.
Business. This is the world that we, as South Africa, a developing economy, must now navigate. But we are not daunted to navigate our path through this world that constantly changes. We will not be deterred. We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice in defense of our national interests, our sovereignty, and our constitutional democracy. We overcame apartheid, a crime against humanity that denied people their human rights, that deprived them of the land and livelihoods, that sought to strip them of their dignity. And we stand for democracy and tolerance as well as compassion. We stand for equal rights for women, for persons with disability, and for members of the LGBTQIA+ community.
The Rwanda-backed M23 armed group is pushing deeper into Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, seizing key areas including the strategic mining town of Nyabibwe in South Kivu. Now, despite a declared ceasefire, M23 has resumed hostilities, launching a French offensive in neighboring South Kivu. Humanitarian sources warn that Congolese forces are preparing to defend Kavumu, a vital town near the provincial capital, Bukavu. The rebels now control Goma, where they have begun installing their own administration. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has renewed calls for peace, urging an end to the violence. However, M23 leader Corneille Nangaa has promised to press on, declaring his intent to liberate all of Congo.
Addis Ababa, my message is clear. Silence the guns. Stop the escalation. Respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Uphold international human rights law and international humanitarian law. There is no military solution. It's time for all the signatories of the Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for the DRC and the region to honor their commitments. It's time for mediation. It's time to end this crisis. It's time to peace. The stakes are too high, and we need the active and constructive role of all players, namely neighboring countries, sub-regional organizations, the African Union, and the United Nations. Let us all act together for peace. Thank you.
In other news from around the world, President Donald Trump has imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court, branding it an illegitimate institution targeting the United States and its ally, Israel. The executive order restricts financial transactions and imposes visa bans on individuals assisting ICC investigations into American citizens or allied nations. The move comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visits Washington. The ICC had previously issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza, charges Israel has denied. The Netherlands, where the ICC is headquartered, has condemned Trump's actions, stressing the importance of the court's role in upholding international justice and accountability. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.